The most disgusting aspect is the naked pandering that Republicans and Democrats display when it comes to getting elected. Let's have open borders. Let's let everyone into the country just so that Barack Obama gets elected. Damn be the immigrants whose lives are then relegated to second and third class. Whereas if Barack Obama and the Republicans wanted to show leadership, what they would insist on is good governance in Mexico, good governance in Latin America, and they would start shifting our foreign policy to looking at how to create wealth south of the border. Unfortunately, we don't have leaders today. Well, first of all, the Obama administration has basically done enforcement through an audit process. If they want to go and do a raid, let's say, they first send a piece of paper saying, we're about to come and audit you. And that's a trigger for making sure that the employer cleans up its act. So that's not, ad hoc enforcement, A. B, the reason why there may be lesser movement of people from the South to the United States is because the American economy has slowed down. And so President Obama can't take credit for any of this. That's a cop-out because that means our education system is not producing scientists, doctors, lawyers. That's the first argument. But the second argument is this. If Iran allows its best and the brightest to come to America, who's going to build Iran? We're not helping Iran, we're hurting Iran. The Iranians deserve to build their country and have their country blossom given the talent and the creativity that they have. But if we open up the borders and allow their best and the brightest to come to America, we've relegated Iran to a third world status. Even if the Congressional Budget Office is correct and the impact of illegal immigration is revenue neutral, the fact is that it has a very, very direct impact on wages. It's a wage suppressing event when illegal immigrants come to the United States. And when you have wage suppression, when you have a system or a community where lower wages are being paid, you have basically less purchasing power. And if you have less purchasing power, in effect, what you're doing is you're relegating a neighborhood to the status of second or third class citizenship. That is not the solution to illegal immigration. Actually, the racism and bias is being inflicted on the Hispanics by their governments. Let's take the example of Mexico. Why isn't the Council of La Raza, why aren't the Hispanic Congressional Caucus talking about the corruption in Mexico, putting the onus of the burden where it belongs? Because Mexico should be one of the richest countries in the world. It's absolutely unjust for Mexicans to be coming to America, because what's happening is the Mexican government is exporting its revolution, its poor people, to America. And then you have organizations here creating a lobby for themselves and latching onto this, and then politicians latching onto this. The fact of the matter is the injustice is being done to the Mexicans in their country. The reason why they're coming from such desperate conditions is because their government has created desperate conditions. Let me go back to Mexico. Mexico should be one of the richest countries in the world. $1.4 trillion of Mexico's oil wealth is not explained. There's no transparency in Mexico. The reason why a Mexican peasant has to come to America is because he did not have access to that $1.4 trillion. But this is not about Hispanics. This is not necessarily about Latin America. This is about America's failed attempt to address issues of corruption in other countries. People inevitably will want to leave their economic desperation to seek a new hope and beginning in America. That is not what America's narrative on immigration should be about. It should be about good governance and making sure that the governments in places like Mexico are accountable to their people. There's no doubt that the U.S. government is culpable in some of the problems that we face, particularly as it concerns immigration, the war on drugs, and assistance to and support for dictators. But let's go and bring this down to one point. There's a borderline between San Diego and Tijuana. The environment is the same. The sun shines as bright on both sides of that border. The only difference is there's a line between San Diego and Tijuana. In San Diego, you have wealth, you have opportunity, you have hope. In Tijuana, you have poverty, you have misery, and you don't have hope. Why? That's the fundamental question. So the burden then shifts on the governments. The government of Mexico has the tools to create a San Diego and Tijuana, but it doesn't do that. There's no doubt that part of this problem is the drug cartel. If we experiment with legalization for 3-4 years and see the results, and if indeed it does take the profits out, then we are certainly onto something, because there's no doubt that Americans' voracious consumption of drugs is fueling the violence that we see in Mexico, is fueling the lawlessness in Mexico. So we are responsible for some of that. There's no doubt about it. I take my example from Costa Rica. Costa Rica opened up its country to foreign investment, and today Costa Rica exports Intel chips and not human beings. We can do the exact same thing in countries like Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Peru. What we need to do is shift America's trade away from China, bring that $228 billion annually that we send to China, we put it into the south of the border. A. B, we create microloans so that immigrants can take advantage of loans to be paid back and start up businesses in their home countries, so that that could be another incentive to want to go back and create wealth in their home countries. We also need to pass the DREAM Act so that every illegal immigrant student in this country has the opportunity at the American dream in getting educated, but then use that degree to go back and build their community. We also need to make English the official language of America. It's the glue that holds us together. Linguistic welfare is not going to help the immigrant population. Government programs, private-public partnerships in English immersion will help the immigrant population. Once they learn the language, they go up the ladder, they realize the American dream. And also, we need to make sure that every employer abides by the rules that are already on the books. You should not hire illegal immigrants. If illegal immigrants know that they're not going to be hired, they may not want to come to America. I think at the end, though, the issue of immigration will only be resolved if we have political will and political leadership. The name of the book is Press 2 for English, Fix Immigration, Save America. The book is currently available on Amazon.com, and I encourage every American who's interested in this issue and who loves their country to read it. I also encourage immigrants to read the book, because it's also a solution for all our problems. This is not about one group of people. This is about us as a country, us as human beings.